Anyway, so we should be on to move number 4. 6 sealing and 4 closing. Okay, so what are the parts of this? I was doing a little of this in the earlier class, and I remembered to tell them that the Tai Chi form is composed of one application after another. But that doesn't mean that in real life you would do them one after another like that. The form is a form. Applications are something completely different. So don't think as we go through this that one necessarily would be followed by another. So what you're doing basically is kind of a wrestling move with a chin at the end. So somebody's arm is coming in here like this, right? And you come up and grab them and pull like this, right? So it's a little hard to demonstrate that without somebody here. But watch this elbow. It's not this, it's this. So you might be coming up and over someone's arm, right? And then pulling down. So it's just like this one on this side. Only it's on this side. Or you might be grabbing and then pulling down. All right, if you're going to grab them and pull them down, how do you do that? You have to sink, in this case, because you're going from right to left, you have to sink in the right quad first, the red quad, right? Watch the red quad. And then you transfer the sink to the left side. All the while, the daimai is moving too. So the move is over by here. All right, you've applied the chin up. It's done. All right, now you go on to the next move. The next move, you just think of it as a shove. All right. So how does the shove work? It works from the bottom of that foot. Right? It's gonna, you sink in the right, sink in the left. Well, that means you're screwing down into the ground. It's not just sinking here. You screw all the way down into the ground. And that lets the spring come back up. It's going to come back up the leg. It's going to turn the waist. It's going to come up to the tendon, and then it's going to go down to the elbows and hands. All right? So it's just like a whip. All right? And once you get the internal rhythm there, then you can make it very whip-like. So it could be a shove, it could be a poke in the eye, it could be anything. But the hand positions here are, you use the right palm turns out, and the back of the left hand goes against the back of the right hand. All right? Could be like this, but it's not. It's like this in this case. Now, the next little piece, well, let's practice that a couple of times, right? Sink in the right, sink in the left. Sink in the right, sink in the left. Sink all the way to the ground, pop. Let me call this out. Watch. Sink again, pop. When you sink at the end of a particular application, you always sink twice. The first time you sink is to finish that particular application. Then you sink even deeper to begin the next application. Sink. Sink again, pop. Let me see you do it, Ryan. Watch my left hand. Reach out with your elbow. It's not down like this. It's not down like that. Just use your left arm. Yes. Not this. Okay, let me see you do the whole thing again. Good. Turn. Don't have the hand like this. Have it up and out. Boom. Okay, let's go on to the next part. The next part is actually very tricky. It is a higher level application that has been snuck into this form. The first thing that happens is called, it's not that there's not yielding in other moves, there is, but this is a much more subtle version of it, right? So boom, like that. Yield. 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 While you're yielding, yielding is closing, right? And you're screwing down into the ground again. Yield. Why is it such a small movement? Imagine somebody is pushing you from behind or from the side here, right? They've got a bunch of energy. They think they're in a good position, so they're pushing on you like this. You can't just lock everything and try to resist that, because then it's yang against yang. Right? If they're being yang, you want to be yin. So he's pushing on me. I'm yin. I'm yielding space. But watch my center line. I've turned my waist a little. I'm letting my body spiral down in, but I'm not yielding my center line. I'm turning my center line. Now, you think, well, you're not moving very far. You don't have to move very far to dissipate somebody's energy, usually, right? So, somebody's pushing on you, you yield, they're going to push until they change their energy inside. So they're pushing yang, they feel you yielding, but at a certain point they're going to start to pull back a little bit or readjust their foot or something. That's when you come back. Yield, come back. Yield, come back. Yield, come back. Yield, come back. That seems like such a tiny little move, and it is. But it requires that you're able to hear the other person's energy, and so you can judge what's happening. Right? They're pushing on me. Yield, come back, throw them. Right? So how are you throwing them? And this might be them, it might be somebody else, but how you're throwing, right, is basically, this is their elbow here, right? You've got their hand, right? They're coming in like this, you grab, and you come up against their upper arm, right? And the thing to do, it's a little hard to explain. If Kevin were here, I'd be happy to show you, right? But the triceps is attached on top, up by the shoulder and by the elbow. And it's kind of free floating in between. So you put your arm under the tricep and then roll it over. Boom, all right? And down they go. And of course, it's all leverage, right? So yield, grab, throw. So you're not really using, I mean, you might end up using your hand, but what you're really using is your forearm. Or you might even go all the way over. Boom, like that. And then, this is called brush the chest. Watch these 2 points. Tanzhong, Tanzhong, Mingmen. Tanzhong, Mingmen. So you're literally dropping between those 2 points. So this point in the back, right? So those could be slugs. It could be somebody's got hold of your hands, right? They got your wrists or something. How do you get out of it in this kind of situation? So there's lots of ways to do that, but this is one way to do it. Use your hips, right? So I'm going to turn my hips. And I'm going to pull back with my left arm a little bit, and I'm going to push forward with my right arm. Since my hips are already turning that direction, that makes it's relatively easy to do that. Even if somebody's got a tight grip on you, you can do it. What does it do to them? Well, it forces them to do the same thing. Somebody who's really good at this, watch, will literally throw someone with this one, right? As you're pulling and spiraling down, and you're pulling and spiraling up. And they've got hold of you so that they end up going like this. And with any luck, you can knock them over. At the very least, you've got them now spread out. So you can go do something else. But there's actually a hip turn in there. And then hold the ball, push through. Notice, watch my left foot. You're up on your toes or on the ball of your foot. And that can be a lot of things. One of the things that it is, when you step out, you step behind someone's leg. So now you got your leg wrapped around them. And you come in on their body right in the hollow of the thigh, of the hip here. Right? That's why you're down low like this, is you're actually what you're doing is collapsing the hip. Right? And you could just do that straight on, right? Or you can step behind them and do it, and then they'll trip over your leg, is the idea. All right, okay, let's do the whole move. Let me see you do it, Ryan. Okay. Now, if we were all together in a studio, I would have you guys push hands with each other and try these things, get a feel for them. But we're not in the studio together, so you'll just have to be content with this. All right, let's go on to the next move.
Question?
Yeah. Kevin.
What a six ceiling, four closing. What does that mean exactly?
What is it referring to? Well, the four closings are pretty obvious. Your closing ceiling is a what they're referring to is sealing someone's energy. So it's like, you remember that time I dropped you down and covered your rice bowl? That's a form of sealing. So six sealing, four closing. So I've never gone through and counted them, but right, you could go through and all right, there's one. Could count that as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 sealing. Right? 4 closing, I guess you go through and count the closes in there too. They're probably referring to the china. Some of these are china, some of them aren't. 1 china, 2 china. I wouldn't count that as a china. That could be china. China. That's not really a china. Well, it's kind of a china. You're attacking the joint, so maybe that's counted as a china. I don't know. I'll look that up. Some of these names are very, very old too, and the movements are not done the way they were done 200 years ago. So that may also have something to do with it. Okay, so you remember, right? There's the hip turn. This hip turn, when you do it, let's talk about the NEIGONG a little bit. You pull the energy into your Dan Qian. It goes through the body and then it comes out and goes like this. So it's making kind of a figure 8 in a way, all right? Into the center, into the back, and out around the daimai. Boom. This next move starts with the same thing. Maybe a good way to think about the applications in the form is what you're doing is learning a language. How you use the language is going to depend on the actual circumstances out there in the real world, right? But it's like you're learning a long, complicated poem, the point of which is to learn the language. So the first thing you're doing is whacking somebody upside the head. Now, when you do the form, you don't really whack somebody upside the head, but you do it in your mind, you do it in your energy body. All right, well, how do you do that? Well, you sink, right? You close into the right leg, and then you open from the right leg. Sink into the red side, screw down into the ground, boom. And now close. Why are you closing? Somebody's got their hand on you, right? So when you're closing, what you're doing is just putting your hand on their hand. Again, when you trap someone like that, you don't harden everything up and try to make it stay there, right? It's more like you're gluing something. You just glue. and then you open. Split. This is called splitting. Trap. Right? Throw. And now you already go on to the next move. When you see kind of round double blocks, that's what they are. All right? You insert your center line in between the guy's hands, and then you open your chest, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers. All right? So the point is not to have big, strong arms like that. The point is the sequence. Split, hit, trap, throw, double block. Now, it's not really two double blocks. The first is round. The second is flat. So you can think of the flats as strikes on both sides. Split, hit, trap, throw, double block, double hit. One, two, three, hook hand. All right. So the 1, 2, 3, I'd have to have somebody, have to have Kevin here to demonstrate this. But what it is someone's got your hand and they're trying to twist it and twist you up. So what you can do about it is relax, and as they twist, follow the twist. And turn. They're trying to chin-a you. You reverse the chin-a. But you don't do it with your shoulder. You do it with this. Watch this down here. So it's a version of that. Offer him your hand. Right? So as with most of the other applications, it's a light version of the real thing, because what you're really practicing is the mind and the energy, not so much the physical body. Split, hit, trap, throw, double block, strikes, escape from the chin-a, apply the chin-a, pull, and hook hand. So what is the hook hand? I guess I can kind of do it on myself. It's a way of holding somebody's hand. It needs to be the other way around, but I can't turn my hand that way. So you're using your thumb and fingers, and you're holding and twisting the hand. There's many other things to do with it, but that's one of the things. So you've got him here. All right. Let's do the whole move. Okay. So the first thing is put your mind on your knee. My foot is going to come up and protect my other knee. And then you come down and scooch out. It's not this. It's this. That's true for every time you raise your knee and put it down. When you put it down, you don't want to turn your danshin over. You want to turn your danshin under. For two reasons. One is it's faster, and two, you keep your root in the ground. When you pull it up and pull it up like this, you're pulling your own root out of the ground. Boom. And then you clunk down like this. It doesn't look cool, right? Instead, you turn it under. It's much smoother, it's much faster, and you keep your grounding. So notice my hand follow this. And you open, and then you come back under the danshin. And when you come back under the danshin, look what happens with the right hand. So I'm going to turn just a little bit of an angle so I'm not spread out like this. You can see a little bit more of my body. Open, close, open, close, open. Open, close, so everything is closing. Close, open, close, open. Okay, so what are you doing with this? What you're doing is, again, right, somebody's got hold of your hand. Right? You turn out from his hold, and now you re-grip him. Notice that my arm is right up against my body. If they've got your hand and they're bending it backwards and you're in close, so that the guy's got a good position. I can't do it on myself, but that's what you're doing. Right? All right, he's got a hold of your hand. Weld your arm to your body and make your body do this. And then you come up and meet your other hand, and now you're going to unroll in single whip. You unroll starting with your leg. So the first thing that's going to go is your cap. You're going to hit the guy with your cap, and then your hip, and then your shoulder, and then your elbow, and then your hand. All right, so it's like your body comes up against him, and then your whole body rolls in this direction. And that's what makes single whip work, not your arm. It's not this. All right? It's this. So what you should be paying attention to is your chongmai and your spine. Right? You close the danshin here, and then you open the danshin the other direction. Close the danshin, open the danshin. works obviously the same way the other direction. Now, when I'm trying to think, one or two of the old videos of Master Feng, he shows you how to really do this. It's not like this. It's more like this. All right? It's fast, and he's really throwing his Dan Qian. But when you do the form, all right, unless you're Master Feng, nice and slow. Watch this hand. It doesn't look like much, but if somebody hits you with this and they're good at it, it's like being pecked to death by a giant chicken.
All you need is one finger, right?
Well, that is true, but in this case you get all three of them. Turn your fingers back. And now the hand spirals. Sink. Both moves. Turn the waist. Turn the waist. Turn the waist. Ram, let me see you do that, both moves together.
Okay. Boom. Okay. All right, guys. I can hear Miss Annie in there yelling for lunch, so you guys have yourselves a great day.